Welcome back to BST, everybody. Your favorite father-son podcast.
Pessimistic Packer takes.
No.
I think is what it's called.
We're not calling it that.
Pessimistic Packer Network.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
BST. That's what
BST.
the name is.
Okay.
Just finished up a great slate of NFL Sunday action.
It was really kind of lame.
It was kind of lame, but it started. It
They
finished
played
well.
Well, they played too many games.
Yeah, there was a lot of
throughout the
blowouts
week.
today. A lot of them.
Yeah.
But really, the only one that we care about, even though the Commanders-Falcons game was pretty good, that just finished up. We'll talk about that more when we talk about the playoff seeding. But as Packers fans, we will talk about the Packers game today, which was a horrific loss by the Packers, 27-25. Which don't let the score deceive you. This game was a blowout by the Minnesota Vikings, which they led 27-10. With just under 7 minutes to go, I believe. Where do I even begin? The Packers don't show up in big games.
They didn't quit.
I don't care if they didn't quit. They didn't show up at all, and they
Slow
haven't
start.
all season.
Slow start.
Well, when are we gonna fix it? Because they haven't shown up all season in big games, and they didn't change anything this time.
You know what? Take away their playoff berth. Just give it back. Ship it back, give it to some other team that would like it, and we'll call it good because we might as well close the doors right now on the whole season.
Matter. You can change a piece of paper, but the shredder's still going to shred it, and the shredder is Philadelphia.
Okay.
Which we'll get into that later when we talk about the playoff picture. But, yeah, the Packers sucked today.
27-25, 15 points in the fourth quarter, really in the last 6.5 minutes.
In garbage time.
Well, but I think if it were flipped and it was the Packers, besides being happy for the win, I think you would be just as critical about the team going, you should not give up 15 points in the last 6 minutes.
Yeah, but
the witching hour, which is the fourth quarter for all you non-red zone fans, it does weird things. Wins become losses, losses become wins. I mean, this one stayed a loss, but hey, they battled back. They got it to where we could, give us extreme false hope because our defense can't stop anybody, really, when it matters. But, whatever. It's like losing to Detroit. I mean, Minnesota and Detroit are just better this year. They're just I don't think it's a talent gap between the teams. I think it's a age gap. I think it's just an experience gap, and it's an execution gap. It's just they've all executed when it matters, and the Packers haven't. And, they need to clean that up. I get it. Let's get a third shot. I'd love a third shot at both of those teams. See what happens. You play a team 3 times, see what happens.
He's definitely more optimistic than I am. I think the season is over.
Wow.
Because we've seen it 5 times this season. The Packers have played a team that is better than them, and
I know.
Lost all 5 times.
It's the hope that kills. I get it. It's the hope that kills. You don't want to have hope because you don't want it to get killed. You don't want to have that. The hope's dashed and the dagger. If you just say they're going to lose now, great. But you know what? They're going to play Philly. Who cares? Just go play Philly.
I get it.
You go in with house money, just like last year. It's not going to be like last year because Philly's a way better team than Dallas. Dallas sucks, by the way. Not just this year, but last year too. They were the 2. Packers went in there and just punched him in the mouth. It would take an effort like that. I don't think that's going to happen. But, hey, go in there, play them hard, leave it all out there, see what happens. You're not going to win the Super Bowl if you're the Packers. I get it. But just who cares? I don't care who they play right now. I think it would be far worse if they went into L.A. and freaking Stafford and those receivers.
Crazy take.
If they beat us, is what I'm
Insane
saying.
take.
No, that is not an insane take to say. You would be. You're
more afraid of Stafford and the Rams.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I think it'd be worse if you go into Philly and you lose. Like, yeah, they're the 2 seed. You go into the Rams and their record's worse than yours. They're the 3 because they won their division, and you lose in that stadium that the Packers are going to probably show up and have more fans than the Rams, and you lose, I'd be way more devastated at that than if I go into Philly and they beat me. Whatever. They're supposed
Well, I
to.
think if the Packers play the Rams, they beat the Rams.
I don't know. I don't know if they do.
But I don't know. Either way,
Stafford's a wild card for me. Stafford's a wild card. You know,
you'd have to go through Detroit or
that dude's
Minnesota
that dude's playing the way the Jets wish they wish Aaron Rodgers would play.
Yeah, but Stafford's not playing that great right now.
He's played
Back-to-back
well.
games under 200
Dude,
yards.
they were 2-4, 2-5, whatever
I mean,
it was,
I
2-4, and
understand.
they've got won 10 games.
But like,
They're 10-6.
there's something definitely wrong with their offense right now.
There's
Their
something
past couple
weird.
Games, they can't seem.
There's
they're not
something
moving
weird, but
ball
the
like
Packers
they
play
normally
down to the competition though. So
do. They sure don't play up to their competition.
you know what though?
But yeah, this
I-
game
I've not lost hope.
I have.
He's lost hope. I've watched twice as many Packers games as he has.
How many Super Bowls have you witnessed?
2.
Exactly.
Well,
2 in like 30 years.
I mean, it's better than the Lions. It's better than the Vikings.
I get
It's
it.
better than the Bears
I'm
now.
I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm just saying it's frustrating that this is just yet another year.
It's okay to be
shuffled in the mix.
frustrating or to be frustrated at your team. You got to keep hope.
I mean, I'm trying.
Got to keep
I
hope.
had hope coming in this week, but then the Packers, like if the Packers battled them all game, they lost. If this was the score, but like throughout the game, I was like, man, the Packers are just battling today. Like that Detroit game a few weeks ago, it'd be a much different reaction for me. But just to watch them walk in there and just get punched in the mouth, it was just like, are we serious?
There were
What are
some
we doing?
self-inflicted wounds. There was a little bit. I mean, you're having a promising drive. They knocked the ball away from Jacobs, fumbles on that drive. It didn't end up hurting them. They were able to stop and force a punt, but they had momentum there, and they took the 3-0 lead. If we could have got 7 there, who knows what happens? Maybe it changes the dynamics, whatever. But I think down 7-3, they needed to kick the field goal, get it to 7-6. Just take the points on the road, especially. I think LaFleur would say that now, looking back. I just think sometimes on the road, especially, I think you can go for it at home. You've got the crowd to energize you, but you don't want to give the other team momentum. So you have to kick the field goal. Take the points. Get a little bit of positivity there. Keep a little bit of pressure on them. Because if it's 13-6 going into, halftime, I don't know. And I mean, the other thing, it's 10-3. They have a 55-yard field goal. They miss it, but we line up offsides. It's just like stupid plays like that.
That was a BS call.
Yeah,
He
I
was
agree.
Not offsides.
But you just, don't make it. Don't make it close. Just give yourself an inch or two. You're not. He wasn't even there to block it. He wasn't in position to block. It's just like, just stupid errors early on really hurt us, and it's just the Justin Jefferson effect. They took him out of the game largely. I mean, what did he still have? How many receptions is that?
92.
8 for 92. A lot of it later on in the second half, but doubling him left those other guys wide open. I mean, that Naylor guy just killed us, and Jordan Addison as well. There was no pass rush. The Packers just really.
There's so many deficiencies.
And here's the positive side of things, I think, is you've got Jeff Hafley, the first-year defensive coordinator. He's come into this team with players he had no say in drafting, right? He had no input on what he needs for his system. So he's taken Joe Barry's players and plugged them into his system, right? And they've started to play better. But there's clearly a mismatch of personnel. So hopefully Gutekunst,
with our drafting history on defense.
well, but I don't know. Maybe we'll turn a corner here. Maybe we'll.
I would be the first one to welcome that.
I would. Do you think the fact that we haven't taken a skill player in the first round since 2002,
Maybe
Javon
we should.
Walker, is a bad thing? I think we've got a lot of talent at
Maybe
wide
we got
receiver.
a lot of talent.
We've
but,
got depth.
But here's the problem with this team. all the things that it takes to win a Super Bowl, I'm not sure we have.
I think we've got the pieces for it. We're just too early in the process.
I'm not sure we do. Who on this team are you just like? Who's the third down guy to go to? Who is it?
Well, yeah. I mean
like I don't.
right now, I think it's probably Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a tight end. You can only do so much, and it's just like it's such a great thing coming in the year. It's like, oh, look at all these weapons they have, but it's like on these big downs, it's like I don't even know what we do.
Well,
they're not good. It's just not working.
Definitely missed. Not having Watson in there just to help spread the field a little bit. I think that definitely played a factor. There were some drops. I mean, I guess that speaks to it right there. We lead the league in drops. I mean,
know. And it's so frustrating because it just feels like so many drives are killed by drops. And
like go to the play-by-play right up there. Go to play-by-play. Okay, let's get rid of that one. So in the second half, how many 3-and-outs did we have? We punted on.
We had 1 3-and-out. We had 2 punts.
We went down 20-3, got it to 20-10. They scored a touchdown, take it 27-10. Then we punted. Then they missed a field goal. Then we scored a touchdown off of that miss. We forced them to punt, and then we scored another touchdown. So, I mean, that kind of tells you right there. They kind of controlled the ball for a lot. They had a long drive for that missed field goal. That worked a lot of time off the clock. So they got it 27-10. They were kind of coasting. They missed the field goal. And then how many plays did it take us to score on that touchdown?
9 plays.
9 plays. What? How much time?
3 minutes.
9 plays in 3 minutes. We go score a touchdown. Okay.
Yeah.
Gets it to 27-18. We go for 2, which was kind of weird. I thought at first that we did that, but we ended up converting the 2-pointer. And then we tightened it up to a 9-point lead. And how many on their possession did they go 3-and-out?
Yep.
So then defense stepped up and forced them 3-and-out, right? I mean, you called it garbage time.
I think it is.
I don't think that was so much garbage time. I think that was just it's a full 60 minutes though. The game takes 60 minutes.
In the game though is that before the last 7 minutes of the game we couldn't move the ball whatsoever. And then now we do. Well, what do I look at that here? What changed? Oh, it's garbage time. The Vikings aren't playing as hard because, let's mail this thing in. We won, which I totally get because it's what the Packers have done for years.
Well, and they probably sat back a little bit, and then I think that touchdown to get it to 27-25, I think that one was a little more. I think they were playing hard then.
I'm saying let's not hang our hat on this. We made it close. I'm not hanging my hat on that because for 3 quarters we played horrible.
But I do think it shows a little bit of. I think there's some positives out of it a little bit. Like for example, look at the Jets today. Okay, 40-0. Rodgers goes to them. Start of the 4th quarter, it's 40-0, and says, "Take me out. Put in my backup. Put in Tyrod Taylor."
Yeah.
Right. So, but I think.
But it's different.
Well, I'm no.
It is.
I understand, but listen to my point.
Okay.
My point is this: you want to have a team who with players that don't quit, and I don't think we quit in the game, right? So that's a positive, is it not? Is it not? Is it not?
It is.
It's a positive, right?
Okay.
They didn't quit. Okay? Yeah, I get it. It's somewhat garbage time, but it's just as easy as it is for Minnesota up 27-10 to say, mail it in. It's just as easy for the Packer players to be like, it's got away from us. Let's just mail it in. But they kept fighting. Okay,
I'm looking from a
so there's
perspective. Though.
Well, look, it's a week-to-week league too.
I get
okay,
that.
It's a week-to-week league. So this effort here, at least there was some fight.
Mm-hmm.
They were scratching and clawing. They got themselves back in the game, albeit pretty late, right? But that being said, with 3.5 minutes left, it was a 2-point game,
Okay.
right? So It's not like, to me, it's a little bit different if this touchdown came at 12 seconds left in the game and there's really nothing left, right? And it was just a matter of kick it off and whatever. Onside kick it, whatever. But there was false hope, we call it, but they came back and there was some fight. So they're a young team, but they keep fighting. So I just think there's growth that needs to happen. And it needs to happen fast, but it needs to happen.
I don't disagree with the fight.
Sorry, I got to blow my nose on this.
The only thing, it's just, I think the difference here is, like you bring up the Rodgers thing. Well, they're like 4-12. This team was 11-4 coming in this game. I don't know about you, but I expected more. I expected fight from the beginning, and it looked like at the start they had no fight.
Well, if you're a fan of the Jets at 3-14, 2 and whatever they are, what are they? 4-12, 4-13. Not 4-13 yet. That'll be next week. 4-12 now. But if you're a fan of the Jets, don't you deserve players that don't quit, regardless of that? So it's the same. It's the same it's the same mindset. I feel like.
Oh, I get it. I'm just, I get it. No, it's a good fight. Way to battle back, but like, can you guys just like put together a game that you don't have to fight back like this? Can the defense make some stops when the offense is struggling a little bit, please?
Well, there just needs to be complementary football.
Can they make some stops when the offense can't score? So then it's going into halftime. They're not down 10.
Well,
can we maybe go out into halftime 3-0, please?
Well, and I think from the first here, I mean, in the first half? Is this the first half here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first half we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possessions. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each team had 5 possessions. We had a fumble, a punt, a field goal, turned it over on downs. So we basically had 2 turnovers in the first half, right? So I think the offense, I think early on the defense was doing okay. And I think it was the inability for the offense in this one.
Yeah,
I think it was the offense. It feels like the defense there at the end, too. But I think the defense did enough in the first half to help the offense out, and the offense wasn't playing well enough. So it was like a failure on the offense in the first half, a failure on the defense in the second half.
The offense just has no rhythm. And I'm not going to put blame on Jordan Love because I feel like it's just like we truly only beat bad teams. Against these good teams, it seems like our seemingly awesome offensive line sucks. They can't block anybody. And, I mean, Jordan Love only got sacked once, but he was pressured multiple times. And
he never had a throw that was, I mean, he had one that he threw down the middle. I think he might have had 2 of them that were kind of like desperation down the middle throws, but there was nothing that was like nearly intercepted or, he's taking care of the ball. And I mean, I think there's a lot of promise for Jordan Love still. I think that I feel like Packers have found their quarterback of the 5-year future, and up to 5-year future. Who knows? Like, can't say beyond that. Well, I guess his contract's only 3 years, right? For the 3 years we have the quarterback, but they do just need to find another receiving playmaker, or one of them has to separate themselves and start to be that go-to skill guy, because there's too many drops. There's too many drops.
They're just big play merchants. If they don't get like a 30-yard play down the field, they're probably not going to move the ball right now.
Yeah, they've got to develop more of an intermediate game.
It's so frustrating to watch because on the outside looking in, they're one of the best offenses in the league. But when you watch them, it's like nothing looks easy. Nothing looks like what the stats say. It's just so frustrating. I can't pinpoint it. It's like, well, the running back's good. The offensive line does pretty well. Jordan Love, I think he's good. He's not very precise, but I think he can make throws. The receivers, Well, you got a slot guy, you got a deep threat, you got a possession guy, and you got a route runner. Okay. Perfect. But and you got a tight end who's just a bowling ball. But for whatever reason, it just seems so clunky. And it feels like nothing is in rhythm or flows together. And I don't know if that's on the floor or who it's on, but like nothing feels easy on offense, especially against these good teams. It just feels like they forget how to play.
Well, it kind of feels like I don't know how they do on man coverage, but can they get open on man coverage? These receivers, or they, I don't know. I mean, it seems to be, Bo Melton probably had the only contested catch, and it was a critical third down there in the fourth quarter. He caught that. I think it was on their first touchdown drive in the fourth quarter. He I think it was 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, something like that. A down in distance, I didn't think they were going to pick up just based on how the game was going. And he hit him across the middle for a contested catch. Then he hit Tucker Kraft for about a 40-yard catch. He was pretty wide open on that. I think it was on that second touchdown drive. Excuse me, to get it to 27-18. And then I mean positive red zone plays a little bit. I mean, they got that 2-point conversion, which I didn't think they'd get. Love had some time and found, I think it was Dobbs, and then he gets Malik Heath on that. And every time Malik Heath and Bo Melton come into the game, and they always seem to be able to come up with a crucial catch, and maybe there needs to be some evaluation there with like Wicks and Melton and Heath and Dobbs. I mean, none of them have separated themselves.
I'm getting tired of Reed dropping the ball.
Yeah, Jaden Reed had a couple of them that it's slightly overthrown out of reach, but there were a couple of them that I felt like the fourth down play that they turned it over on downs. First read was Dobbs. Gilmore took him out, and next read was to Jaden Reed, and I mean he didn't get it, but it was on his hands. Felt like it should have been a catch.
I just feel like there's no consistent. Okay, something's where it's not working. Okay, let me hit this guy, or let's get in rhythm. Let's hit this guy. It's just right now it's super.
Yep.
It's horrible, and that's why I have no faith for this team, because if the offense is just this much off, this defense is not stopping anybody, especially some of these top contenders with these offenses. This defense is screwed. We are screwed on defense because our best player on defense is a safety. And newsflash, a safety is great. But when he's your best player, you're pretty screwed because our defensive line cannot get pressure on anybody, especially against these good O-lines. They may get pressure on the Saints or whoever, the Titans, but they can't get pressure on any of these top guys. We haven't all year. Goff was standing back there making his dinner. Sam Darnold was standing back there making lunch. And Hurts can scramble over you. So none of these guys they're going to get pressure on. I don't see anybody stepping up anytime soon. Maybe our second best player is a linebacker, and he flies around and makes plays, Edgerrin Cooper, but I mean,
who's a rookie?
He gets like I don't know, a few tackles for loss. That's it. There's just the thing is about the Packers right now is they're just splash plays. There's no consistency on either side of the ball, making consistent plays that change the game. It's just here's a really nice throw from Jordan Love for like 20 yards.
But I mean, all the ESPN guys say that you have to make big plays to win games.
I understand that, but they need consistency.
I think what's frustrating you a little bit, and it's somewhat me too, is are you referring to 3rd and 5 and they go for the home run ball?
It's just like
do a 10-yard play or something. Get the first down, and why are you throwing into guys not even in the play? The ball doesn't even come close.
I know
it's the third down.
I mean,
there was
sense.
A couple of them.
And our corners, I like Keyshawn Nixon as a tackler, and I like Carrington Valentine. I think he's a decent player.
Had a pick.
But I mean, we are getting just destroyed
Well,
the middle of the field.
I mean, you never put injury as excuse, right? But I mean, honestly, they had Bullard. Is that his name? Bullard. Bullard in the slot. You lost that kid out of BYU. Forget
Bullard
his
is
name.
always in the slot.
What's his name though?
Zane Anderson.
Zane Anderson. You had him in there replacing Williams, who's out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had Anderson in there. You lose him in the first quarter to a concussion. So then you move Bullard out of the slot into safety, and then the spacing was off, and they, you know, he prepped all week at one position.
I get it.
You throw him in, so a lot of, I mean, that forced you to bring Stokes in, and that's horrible.
That's what
So
I'm saying.
I mean,
Our corner sucks.
so yeah,
They're bad.
there's no good depth, which I don't think in the NFL you can keep really talented depth.
No, not
Get
at
that
corner.
at corner. So you're always going to be screwed
But
when
we don't-
those
but we
guys
don't
come
have
in.
One guy who can go on their top guy and just lock him down.
I don't even think, and I don't think any of them actually exist on injured reserve right now,
Well,
or on or that are
I
injured
think
with Green Bay.
Jair at his best can when
I-
he's healthy.
I think his
he
best years
has.
are behind him.
Oh yeah, but he has. Like he has gone on Jefferson and locked him down. And I mean, there's certain guys you're not gonna be able to lock down. Like Jefferson's obviously gonna get his, but it's like, it's the no-name guys like Naylor who is just killing you, and it's like, guys, let Jefferson beat you. You don't have to double him all game. As good as he is, he's most of the time he's not gonna beat you over the top. He's gonna be intermediate. He's gonna get his. Don't let Naylor catch multiple third down conversions and run all over you after catch. And Hawkinson did the same thing, wide open multiple times. It's so frustrating that the Packers just get destroyed on defense because their corners suck. They legitimately truly suck without Jair in the game.
So Minnesota getting the 1 seed? Are they going to the Super Bowl?
Well, actually, you know what? This is a perfect segue into that. But yeah, Packers get embarrassed. But let's talk about the playoff picture real quick. So right now, Minnesota is the first seed. I don't think it's gonna. I think the Lions. I think the Lions win tomorrow. Obviously.
Well, it comes down to it doesn't really matter, right? If Detroit win or lose tomorrow, doesn't matter.
I think
If
they'll
they win at home,
I think they'll win.
they become the 1. So
But, I mean, let's start on the AFC. So the first seed has been locked up by Kansas City. Second
you're
seed.
what? They're your future Super Bowl champs, right? Kansas City, I think.
Probably.
Yeah. See, I've been talking since this podcast was created 7 weeks ago or whatever. That Kansas City's winning the Super Bowl.
Okay,
So
but here's the difference.
why do we even care about what's going
Here's
on with
the
the
difference.
Packers when the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl?
Here's
Who
the
cares?
difference.
Let's go play Philadelphia. Who cares?
Here's the difference.
What?
A few weeks ago, Kansas City was not playing like they are now. They looked pretty good.
Oh, wait a minute. So a team can look bad and then play better?
Yeah.
So there is hope for Green Bay.
The only difference is the Chiefs
Oh!
are 15-1.
There's hope.
They're 15-1.
Yet during that 15-1, you were thinking they played like crap, but they were
did,
winning
and
games.
They were still winning.
How is that even
Winning
possible?
cures all.
How's that even possible?
Winning cures all. You're not going to criticize them as much as they win.
Oh, that's just so weird. I thought if you sucked, you just sucked. Apparently not.
Did you?
Well, that's what you were saying.
So basically, the only thing that could change here, I guess Los Angeles could. So I think the most likely scenario that I would like to see is the Bengals beating Pittsburgh.
So first of all, you got to say, right now, as things stand, your
yeah.
1 seed is Kansas City, your 2 seed is Buffalo, your 3 seed is Baltimore, your 4th seed is Houston, and those are all the division leaders. They've wrapped up their division.
Yeah.
Well, Baltimore hasn't yet. They will, though, more than likely. And then your 5th seed is Pittsburgh, your 6th seed is the Chargers, and then your 7th seed currently is Denver.
But the 7th seed is the one up for grabs because Denver's not clinched yet.
What teams are alive still?
I think it's the Dolphins, the Bengals, and Denver. So
Okay.
So I think everybody wants the Bengals to make it. So if the Bengals beat the Steelers and the Chiefs beat the Broncos, I also think Miami because if Miami beats the Jets, Miami's in, so the Jets have to beat Miami.
Aaron Rodgers has to give Joe Burrow a huge gift post Christmas.
So I think this would be the coolest because then you got Cincinnati going to Buffalo, which would just be cinema.
Oh.
And I mean, imagine this playoff matchup. Then you got Pittsburgh going to Baltimore.
The thing about it is that the Cincinnati defense is so terrible. There's just
care.
no way they make any run.
I was saying this yesterday. If this happens, if I had a vote for MVP, Joe Burrow's getting my vote. If he leads them to the playoffs and this scenario happens, I don't know how you don't give it to him. Because he leads the league, leads all QBs in pretty much every statistic. But then you have the Chargers playing Houston. So that's what I want to happen. But I think if Denver wins regardless against Kansas City, which they probably they should.
Carson Wentz.
Because against Carson Wentz and all the Chiefs' backups. But who knows? Then Denver gets in. But yeah. So it's going to be tough for the Bengals because they're kind of third in the pecking order.
They need the most help. They need to win at Pittsburgh, who's trying to get right, right? Because Pittsburgh's had a tough 3-game losing streak, right? So Pittsburgh's trying to get to right the ship a little bit. So you got to beat them, and then you need the Atlanta or you need the Jets. You need Aaron Rodgers and the Jets to go out on top in New York, which they can do because Tua's banged up. We don't know if Tua's playing.
True.
So Jets could do it for him. However, is Kansas City going to go and beat Denver
It'd be fun,
with all their start? I mean,
it'd be fun.
If any team would, it's the Chiefs. But, it's a long shot. My money's on Denver taking care of business.
I agree. Then in the NFC, I think Detroit will win tomorrow. So going into Week 18, it will be Detroit is the 1 seed, Philly is the 2 seed, Rams the 3, Tampa is the 4, and then Minnesota 5, Washington at 6, and Packers at the 7th seed.
If you're a Packer fan, you need the Cowboys to beat the Commanders at home.
Philly locked up the second seed, and I think I guess if the Rams lose to Seattle and Tampa wins, Tampa can be the 3 seed if the Rams lose to Seattle and Tampa wins. So that could shuffle it a little bit. But yeah, so then really the big matchup here is Minnesota-Detroit, because whoever wins that gets the 1 seed. And then also, if Washington loses to Dallas and the Packers win against the Bears, the Packers can get the 6th seed. So Packers are basically looking at either Philly, Tampa, or L.A.
More than likely
most
Philly.
likely Philly.
Most likely Philly. I mean, I don't know that the Commanders are the Cowboys without CeeDee Lamb. I don't think are gonna necessarily do anything. But the Commanders did lose already. The Cowboys at home. Now they're in Dallas, and this is a pride game. This is you got Micah Parsons. You've got all the defense back.
Yeah.
For Dallas, that oddly enough, I don't think we're all there when they beat the Commanders. Right? I don't think they were. I don't know if Micah Parsons is back. They might have. But Cooper Rush, they still have some targets out there. They got a running game that's better. Washington's not in such of a, they're not so much in a we've already clinched, so maybe we're not as desperate. Because I don't know, 6th seed, 7th seed. I don't think Washington fears Philly. So
I think they do.
I don't know. Honestly,
I think everyone should fear Philly.
You gotta beat everyone anyway.
I understand that.
So
but also Atlanta can make the playoffs, but they have to have the Bucks lose, and they gotta beat the Panthers after the recent loss to the Commanders. But it should be interesting how this plays out. I think the most likely will be the Bucks winning, the Commanders winning. I think Detroit will win. He thinks Minnesota will win. So I think that would be the most likely scenario, which would set up some pretty interesting matchups.
it's going to come down to can Detroit's defense stop the Minnesota offense more frequently than Minnesota's defense stops Detroit's offense?
Yes.
You think Detroit's just...
I don't think Minnesota can get pressure on Goff.
You don't think so?
No.
They blitz. They're blitz happy.
I mean, I get that, but I don't know.
It feels to me like the receiving core of Detroit right now, which what's his face? St. Brown. What year is he in right now? 5th year?
I'm not sure.
I mean, he's come on the most in the last two years, right? He was talented, but he's really taken a next step the last couple years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which sometimes it takes a few years for receivers. I think that they've got with him and with some of those other receivers on that team, they've got as much of a potent weapon or threat as Minnesota does. I just don't know if they'll be able to pressure Sam Darnold. And if Sam Darnold sits back there and makes lunch again like he did against Green Bay, at this point it'll be dinner because it'll be Sunday night. But
yeah.
But if he sits back there and just camps out and just picks them apart, I don't know.
I do not see Minnesota being able to stop Detroit, and I think Detroit can outscore anybody.
I think that's what they'll have to do.
And I think they will. I mean, this has been a season of the ages for Detroit.
What a letdown for the city of Detroit.
If they
lose this game, lose home field, and don't make the Super Bowl after this. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they come back from that necessarily. I mean, they'll get players back from injury, but the locker rooms change over every year, so who's to say?
And they
keep
Ben
the
Johnson.
same. Yeah, I mean, they lose their offensive coordinator.
One thing I will say about the Packers:
nobody wants our coaches.
If you're talking about going into the offseason, who's going to have the most turnover in the NFC North?
It's probably not the Green Bay Packers.
The Green Bay Packers are probably.
We're probably rolling
we're
this thing forward of
the,
keeping.
Yeah, I mean,
there's going to be turnover at these other
Detroit
teams.
Is Ben Johnson's probably gone, most likely. Their D coordinator may be gone. Who knows? It's definitely going to be interesting.
Flores will be gone in Minnesota.
Flores,
more than likely.
What do you do with Darnold? Do you pay him? Which, if you pay him,
they will.
You have less money for other things. So
they probably do, because then your window is, I think, narrower in Minnesota right now because they didn't expect this to happen.
And then
they didn't expect this window to open up, and they're gonna have to pay Darnold to keep him.
Plus,
so
I don't
cap
think
hit.
If Flores leaves, I don't think this defense is very talented.
No,
I think they have a lot of players who work really well in the scheme.
Yeah.
So if Flores leaves, that could change some things there. And then obviously with the Bears, they need a head coach. They need a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one kind of side of optimism for Green Bay, but they have their own things to handle and improve on their team if they want to take advantage of that. But to end off the show today, I just wanted to briefly touch on the draft order. Just an inexplicable win by the Giants. It's great, like you said, showing fight. But you lose this game and you basically clinch the 1 seed, or not the 1 seed, the first pick. And you not only do you win, but you show out. You have the best game of the season, and now you're the fourth pick, and you're in danger of losing out on 2 quarterbacks in the draft if you don't lose next week and things don't shake your way.
Okay, so they lose next week. Who's ahead of them right now?
The Browns and the Titans and the Patriots.
Okay. Patriots don't need a quarterback.
No.
Titans will draft a quarterback.
Browns probably
Browns, I don't know. With the restructure of Deshaun Watson, you're already paying a lot of money to him. Yeah. I don't think these quarterbacks are that talented.
No, I don't either.
That a team there, I think the Browns would go, why don't we get offensive line?
But still.
Or
to even put yourself in the situation to risk it is come on, guys. I kept texting my brother as a Giants fan throughout the game. I'm like, what are they doing? There's no possible way you can screw up.
I mean,
just an absolute collapse like this.
Well, and I mean it maybe it must speak a little bit to somewhat, you know, the locker room in some way there. Because how did the Giants put together this
Dable's
with
gone.
Dable? But Dable's gone. But
because this is definitely a shot at the organization to me.
But if Dable was gone and they really wanted the one, why wouldn't they just fire him right now? And
I don't know.
why wouldn't they have fired him before and just said, "Hey, whatever. We don't want to win these games because we want the one pick." I don't know. I don't think either of these quarterbacks are that good.
I don't either.
That I
I don't either.
to me it's like I don't think you've got your franchise quarterback here anyway. So if you miss out, oh well. And honestly, that must be what the Giants are thinking too, really, because if they wanted to lose, they could have lost.
They should
right?
have lost.
Well, they should have, but they could have. So clearly, the organization, the directive from above was play hard.
No, but the thing is with this move, if they lose out on either quarterback, this fan base may not show up to games next season. If they do not have a different starting quarterback than Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito next season, there's going to be no fans in those stands. Because they are sick and tired of bad quarterback play. And it's not guaranteeing anything by drafting a guy, but at least you're showing you're trying. You're trying to get a new face out there.
What about J.J. McCarthy? Could he be in play?
No.
Though?
No.
If they pay Darnold, why are they holding on to him?
Because why not? You're paying him nothing.
But Darnold is 27 years old. So he's young.
Yeah,
if you're going to give him money, you're going to give him 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, but why get rid of
well, because
J.J.
those
McCarthy?
first-round draft picks, they make a bit, right?
I mean, it's nothing crazy.
They make a little bit, and I just think if you're going to commit to Darnold, you probably are going to look for somebody to take J.J. McCarthy just because you don't want the distraction.
I doubt they do it this year. I doubt it.
I don't know.
Well, because why would you?
Well, what I'm
Why
saying
not
is,
just follow the Packers
what I'm
formula?
saying is there could be, with a top pick in play, it could be that it's neither of these quarterbacks in the draft that are really a fit for the Giants, that maybe there's a free agent out there somewhere. There's somebody that can come. Maybe
more likely they get Darnold.
Maybe they sign Kirk Cousins for a year to come in as a bridge or something, right?
I
maybe
hate that
maybe
more
you
than
do that.
drafting a guy because to me,
you get
Kirk
him cheap.
Cousins, yeah, but you're not looking for good quarterback.
But
play.
you could get.
You're trying to find the future.
Well, you are looking for good quarterback play.
Yeah, it's not like the Giants are quarterback away.
Yeah, but
it makes no sense to sign Kirk Cousins.
Well, I think it makes perfect sense to get a guy cheap, and then you can start investing money into other players to build around, and then maybe you.
But it's not like they're a few pieces away. Like they have one of the worst rosters in the NFL. So what I'm saying is,
that's the reason for Kirk Cousins to want to go there. For the Giants, you're not like, we take Kirk Cousins because he's cheap and he's a veteran.
It makes no sense for Kirk Cousins to go there.
I think it makes perfect sense for Kirk Cousins because nobody else will want him.
He's gonna he wants to go somewhere he can win.
Who's gonna take him? Everybody that's close already has a quarterback.
Why would you go to the Giants?
Name a team that's a Kirk Cousins away from the Super Bowl.
Nobody.
Okay, so he doesn't have any options then.
But why would the Giants sign him?
Because he's cheap.
How do you know he's cheap?
Because he's already getting guaranteed money. He gets cut. He's getting all this money from Atlanta. It's the Russell Wilson thing.
Yeah, but it's way different with the Steelers because they.
Why don't you go get Justin Fields then?
We're a quarterback away. Well, okay, but that's different because Justin Fields is like, he's still young.
Okay, but but your options are Tommy DeVito and Drew Lock. So you're taking Kirk Cousins because those options suck. Okay, so you bring Kirk Cousins.
They're really
you
screwed.
get Kirk Cousins in for one season at least. Okay, then you've got money to try to go get players. You don't think Kirk Cousins can feed Malik Neighbors?
But you're
of
not
course.
trying to win.
You are trying to win.
You
That's
aren't.
the whole
No,
point.
you aren't. Because if you're trying to win now,
wait, who are you playing
without
for?
your quarterback-
Who are you trying? You're trying to win, and the chips fall where they may. I mean, who's coming out in the draft after this one?
No, but I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you're not attacking this offseason thinking, okay, let's try to win the Super Bowl this next year. You're not doing it because there's no point in doing it. The roster's not even close. The defense sucks.
You just want somebody that can come and deliver some wins
No, you don't.
in New
No, you
York.
don't. No, you
Yes,
don't. No, you
that's
don't.
what New York football
No,
is.
you want to start building the future, not bring in some old 35-year-old to come in and give you some decent quarterback play.
I think you draft. Okay,
That's
if they're there, you draft them and you
Okay.
bring Kirk Cousins in
That's
anyway.
different. If they draft somebody and you want to bring Kirk Cousins in as a mentor,
I
that's
think you
different.
do it no matter what as a backup option.
Well, it depends on how much he wants. If he's asked for a ton of money,
It
don't
doesn't
do
matter. It's veterans minimum because he's not going to have a market. so
I'm just
he
saying.
can want what he wants, but they're going to be like, "We'll give you veterans minimum because you're getting paid this already, and this is a prove it deal." And
Could
he
the Jets
knows
look for Kirk Cousins.
the Jets could. I mean, they could. And who knows? Maybe you bring Rodgers across the locker room from the Jets to the Giants. Maybe he goes and plays for the Giants.
See, that's again, like if again, I think you only bring in a veteran in this moment if you are looking to mentor quarterback. Otherwise, especially with these rosters, it doesn't make any sense.
They don't pay these guys to mentor. They pay them to win games. So
But why would
you
you
come
try
in
to
and you
win?
win. Because it's football. You're supposed to do that. You're not purposely trying to tank. That's just not how it goes.
I mean, you're not purposely trying to tank, but the Giants are not Kirk Cousins away
Yeah, but
from winning.
I know. They bring Kirk Cousins in just to have an option at quarterback that's decent, that can at least keep them competitive.
I would be shocked. I'd be shocked. And
But there's him. There's Justin Fields.
I think Justin Fields
There's
is a far better option.
Well,
'Cause
then
at
go
least
get
it's
him.
exciting. Yeah, I'm fine with doing that for the Giants, but
I'm just saying, if they pass on Shadur and Cam Ward, big deal. If they miss out on those two, who cares? They're not going to do anything.
I don't necessarily disagree, but I think the fans would definitely be very mad.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Anyway.
just come on, Giants. What are we
Yep.
doing? But,
Stupid.
yeah, it's pretty much all on this Sunday. Kind of boring. Lions play the Niners tomorrow. I think they'll win pretty handily there, and it sets up a pretty big week of NFL football next Sunday. I think we got New Year's Eve. We got a Boise State game. I can't remember who the other one is, but more of the college football playoff. So
We'll try to do one on New Year's Day, maybe.
probably like
talking
1
about
a.m.
1
a.m. on New Year's Day, talking about the Boise State game when they get trounced by Penn State, which is my prediction.
He has no hope for anything.
But thank you guys for watching.
Thanks, everyone.
And have a good one.